It's here and it's the year that we all have been waiting for, 2022, the year of adventure, empathy, learning and growth.
And from all of us here at the Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation, we wish you a happy new year, filled with all the good times, good memories, good health, wealth and prosperity.
Good evening, I'm Shra Mascarenhas.
And I'm Tilina Udayaratna. Coming up are your top stories for tonight. The world welcomes 2022 amidst challenges. The Malwatu and Asgiri Nayakathera say that 2022 is a year to overcome challenges. The President invites all concerned to make the new year a year of transformation. Litro Chairman says the gas shortage is to be resolved in 3 weeks' time. The World Health Organization says coronavirus could be controlled through joint actions of all countries this new year.
On to the stories in detail now, starting off with local news. People of Sri Lanka have commenced its activities in the new year 2022, giving prominence to religious observances. Scenes of the devotees flocking to places of religious worships, including viharas, have been witnessed. The historic Sri Dalada Maligawa in Kandy was filled with devotees since this morning. Devotees in large numbers were also seen arriving to venerate the Jai Shri Ma Bodhi in Anuradhapura according to health guidelines. Pilgrims of all parts of the island have also arrived to worship the Sri Pada in the new year. Large group of devotees were present to participate in the Ashirvada Puja being conducted on the 1st of January each year at the Saman Devalaya in Mausakalai on Hatton Sri Pada Road. Our correspondent says many devotees were also present at the Kirivihara Rajama Viharaya premises in Katharagama. The Bellamvilla Rajama Viharaya was also filled with devotees last night. They have arrived to receive blessings in the new year. A puja of blessings was also held at the Ganga Rama Viharaya in Colombo in the night of the 31st last month. Venerable Kirinde Assaji of the Ganga Rama Viharaya presided over the event. Hindu Kovil throughout the island were engaged in New Year special religious offerings. Our correspondent says large group of Hindu devotees took part in the Ashirvada Puja held at the Manikavinayagar Kovil in Bambalapitiya today. And special religious observances have been conducted in churches throughout the island as well. Many devotees were present in religious observances at All Saints Church in Borella.
The Mahanayakatheras of the Asgiri and Malwata chapters extending blessings to the people in the new year say all must get together to win the challenges of the year 2022. Mahanayaka of the Asgiriya chapter, Most Venerable Varakagoda Sri Jnanaratanathera, said that the entire world is being affected by coronavirus. They are pleased to find the country providing relief even to this extent by controlling the proliferation of the disease. The Mahanayakathera has also expressed best wishes for a free and prosperous year for all in the new year. Anunayaka of the Malwata chapter, Most Venerable Dimulkumure Vimaladhammathera, said that 2021 has been an extremely challenging year. The country was immensely affected by the pandemic. All Sri Lankans must strive to come out of this pathetic plight by uniting as one nation. We will not be able to stand up if we are engaged in accusing one another or taking part in work stoppages. Rulers of the country must make use of the services of the opposition as well in these endeavours.
President Gotabaya Rajapaksa says that we must look back on the impact caused upon country and the society last year through determination on future prosperity. The President, issuing a message in connection with the dawn of the new year 2022, further says that an opportunity has now been created to carry forward the measures taken by the government to strengthen the people-centred economy. Sri Lanka must embark upon prosperity with self-confidence, dedication and unity. The President's New Year message further points out that the challenges, won as well as past experiences, would encourage us in the new year. The global pandemic has an adverse impact on the people's expectations towards fulfillment of development goals. At present, Sri Lanka's national security and coexistence have been further consolidated. Many new reforms are also being processed. The government has taken measures to re-implement stalled state development projects and programs. These projects will be vested with the people. It has also been pointed out that the measures taken by the government to overcome the harmful impact on the livelihood of the people in the face of the COVID pandemic have been subjected to global commendations. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa further says that freedom being enjoyed by people today, even amidst the pandemic restrictions, was the outcome of the immense commitments of all. The President has extended invitation to all parties concerned to join hands to make the new year and a year of transformation, which fulfills the goals of the vision of prosperity. The Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa in his New Year message calls upon all citizens to turn the New Year into a year of victory through overcoming of obstacles with the cooperation of all. He adds that the government constantly commits itself to be a source of strength to the people to achieve this objective. All Sri Lankans must make a determination in the new year to march forward vigorously to overcome the obstacles by making use of the difficult experiences they had encountered. The Prime Minister further says that as a government, they had given priority for the protection of the lives of the people last year. It has become possible to safeguard the lives of thousands of people due to the successful implementation of the vaccination program. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa has also recalled that the government was able to vest with the people many development projects which had been abandoned in the recent past, even while encountering the pandemic challenge. The future aim of the government is to spread the rays of the development by further enhancing the lively conditions of the people. In order to achieve this objective, we must overcome the numerous obstacles. The Prime Minister's New Year message has also pointed out that many crises could be resolved by means of accuracy in selection and implementation rather than accusing each other. Opposition leader Sajid Premadasa's New Year message says that we must ponder with a sense of understanding how people in many countries had arisen from utter disruptions. His message further says that the nature has silently taught the lesson on how the world people think during a tragic period. The leader of the opposition reiterates that the past experiences should be made use for the beginning of a new era in the new year.
President Gotabaya Rajapaksa and Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa have sought blessings for the new year by engaging in religious observances in front of the historic Kirivihara in Kataragama yesterday. The President and Prime Minister also attended Kapruk, medicinal and Gilanpasa pujas to the Kirivihara Chaitya. Chief incumbent of the Kirivihara Rajamaha Vihara, Venerable Kobavaka Dammindathera, has performed religious activities including delivering Panchasila to the participants. Thereafter, the President and Prime Minister visited the Mahasen Devalaya and received blessings. The President, symbolizing the end of 2021, planted a white sandalwood sapling. Flower sellers lining up along the road from Kirivihara to Ruhunu Kataragama Mahadevalaya offered flowers to the President. The President inquired into the well-being of the people who have arrived at the sacred site. The President and Prime Minister also attended a Pirit chanting held in front of the Ashtapala Bodhi of the historic Kataragama Mahadevalaya. In parallel to these events, scholarships have been presented to novice bhikkhus. Later on, the President and Prime Minister called upon Chief Incumbent of the Abhinavaramaya, Venerable Kapugama Saranathissa Thera, and received blessings. The President carried the casket of sacred relics to the location of the Pirit chanting ceremony organized annually in the sacred site by the Sri Lanka Freedom Party. Ministers, parliamentarians, ministry secretaries, commanders-in-chief of the three armed forces and the Inspector General of Police, government officials and Basnayaka Nilame of the Ruhunu Kataragama Mahadevalaya also attended the Pirit ceremony. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa presided over the commencement of construction of a new entrance column across the Mahanayakathera in the vicinity of the Mahanayakathera Mahadevalaya today. The President and Ministers Chamal Rajapaksa and Mahinda Amaravira, State Minister Shashindra Rajapaksa as well as Basnayaka Nilame of the Mahanayakathera Mahadevalaya, Dishan Gunasekara, laid foundation stones for the construction. The Ministry of Environment donated a tractor and an electric vehicle to the Devalaya under the Surakimu Ganga project. The President handed over 2 vehicles to the Basnayaka Nilame to be used in an environmentally friendly model project to collect garbage and solid refuse being accumulated in the Mahanayakathera. Secretary to the Ministry of Environment, Specialist Physician Dr. Anil Jayasinghe and Director General of the Central Environmental Authority Hemanta Jayasinghe also participated on this occasion. A Pirit chanting to bless the Prime Minister and the country was held at the Carlton residence in Tangol today. The Mahasangha, who visited the residence, extended blessings through chanting of Pirit to the Prime Minister and the country. Chief incumbent of the Vajragiri Purana Vihara and Chief Judicial Sanganayaka of the Sri Lanka Venerable Mirise Dhammavanshathera presided over the ceremony. A group including the wife of Prime Minister, Madam Shiranti Vikramasinghe Rajapaksa and Minister Namal Rajapaksa were among those who attended the religious observances. It has also been reported that a large number of people also visited the Tangol Carlton House today to extend their best wishes to the Prime Minister in the new year.
It has become apparent that the people of Sri Lanka have accepted the new year 2022 as a year of overcoming challenges. Accordingly, they have celebrated the dawn of the new year in grand scale. The national television has accorded the opportunity to the local viewers to experience a novel concept performance last night. The program was telecast at from the entrance of the Golden Gate Kalyani of the new Kalani Bridge.
Ranman mata babalene mal mata hasadene nari latali lepapa de nagala.
And while that's how Sri Lanka celebrated New Year's Eve last night, New Year's Eve plans all over the world have largely been muted or cancelled for the second straight year due to a surge in coronavirus infections, but countries across the world would still celebrate the beginning of 2022. In mainland China, the Shanghai government called off events including an annual light show along the Huangpu River in the city center that usually draws hundreds of thousands of spectators. But thousands of people gathered in Shanghai to celebrate the new year with photographs from the near Bund, a waterfront promenade in the city. Muted celebration got underway in India while several states have imposed blanket bans on New Year celebrations. People in Dubai welcomed the new year with an extravagant fireworks display at the Burj Khalifa tonight, while a laser show takes place at the nearby Dubai Fountain. Russia's 11 time zones welcomed 2022 at different points throughout the night, with the capital Moscow having already ushered in the start of the new year. In Paris, the Eiffel Tower was lit up as it is at the top of every hour to mark midnight. People also celebrated the New Year on the Champs-Élysées Avenue in the French capital. The UK's Spectacular began with a countdown to midnight on the Shard before a monologue took place following a scattering of fireworks on the Millennium Bridge. Around 15,000 people in the Big Apple gathered to watch the traditional ball drop in Times Square, far fewer than the usual tens of thousands who usually descend on the area.
Must have been nice to have the celebrations after a long time. Stories back at home. Chairman of the Litro Gas Company, Theshar Jayasinghe, says that the Sri Lanka Standards Institute has already set the necessary standards for gas production in the country. He adds that accordingly, new regulation on gas received on the 20th of December are being enforced for the distribution of gas to the people subjected to proper standards. Chairman of the Litro Gas Company, Theshar Jayasinghe, says that more than 180,000 gas cylinders are being released to the market. He has expressed hope of resolving the gas shortage in the country at the earliest possible convenience. He further said that the manufacturing procedure has been affected due to the shortcomings in the procedure to issue new products. This condition is expected to be rectified within 3 weeks. The chairman also said that with the implementation of the new measures, the consumers will be able to purchase more safety gas cylinders.
People in the Pottery Industry village in Kumugete are receiving profits as never before, as their products are fetching a higher demand these days. The producers point out that a scenario is developing, making it impossible to fulfill the demand for their clay products. The main source of livelihood of residents in the Kumugete traditional pottery village is products made out of clay material. They have been lamenting for a considerable period over the absence of a proper market and a reasonable price for their produce. However, due to numerous reasons, including the existing shortage of gas in the market, there is a high demand and a price for their clay products. Nowadays, there is a substantial demand for clay ovens. Industrialists are of the view that the prevalence of this situation would lead to a significant progress of the industry within a short period of time. The villagers say the government has recently extended assistance to all families in the village to purchase latest machinery and also to construct boutiques. The pottery industrialists of Kumukgete have extended their gratitude to the government for elevating the clay-based industry to the existing higher status. They add that no previous government has extended such an amount of assistance to them.
The Health Divisions reiterates that general public should act according to health guidelines in a background where nearly 50 Omicron-infected patients have been detected in the country. Deputy Director General of Medical Services Division Dr. G. Vijayasuriya says the country should unite to make 2022 a safer year by taking into considerations of the lessons learned last year. Deputy Director General of Medical Services Division Dr. G. Vijayasuriya had this to say.
There may be some other patients reporting, and that may be lead to some kind of crisis situation if we are not following the health instruction. So I think that country people has to obey that instruction given by the health department. In the same time, education that activities they have relaxed for the private tuition and private education facilities. From grade 5 upwards, they can have a private tuition that maximum capacity of 50%. In the same time, as we are having the risks of COVID-19 in future, that's better to have a COVID-19 booster dose. Everybody's people who are over 30 years, that Pfizer booster dose is available in the country, that from the hospitals as well as from the field, they can take this booster dose. And there are some myths, people believing that they are having some unnecessary side effects or something. At the moment, no ordinary side effects are reported due to the booster dose, the Pfizer.
A total of 33,891,135 vaccine doses have been inoculated to the people in the country under the COVID immunization program. Accordingly, 15,920,877 persons have received the first dose of the vaccine, while 13,845,347 have received both doses. A total of 4,520,911 have received the booster dose thus far. The Director General of Health Services have confirmed 16 COVID-related deaths which have occurred yesterday. 14 of the fatalities were of the age of 60 years and above. The remaining 2 victims were between the ages of 30 and 59 years.
The World Health Organization chief says he's optimistic that the coronavirus pandemic will be defeated in 2022, provided countries work together to contain its spread. Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus warned against narrow nationalism and vaccine hoarding in a New Year statement. His comments come 2 years since the WHO was first notified of cases of an unknown pneumonia strain in China. Global COVID-19 cases now stand at 287 million, while nearly 5.5 million people have died. Across the world, people are marking the new year, but celebrations are quite muted, with many countries wanting to discourage crowds from gathering. Coronavirus remains part of daily life, a disease that has shut borders, split families, and in some places made it unthinkable to leave the house without carrying a mask. Despite all this, Dr. Tedros sounded a positive note in his speech, noting that there are now many more tools to treat COVID-19. But he warned that continuing inequity in vaccine distribution was increasing the risk of the virus evolving.
Distribution of prizes and certificates to the winners of the literary competition organised by the Kamrupitiya Public Library in connection with the National Reading Month has taken place yesterday. Minister Dalasala Peruma presided over the event at the Kamrupitiya Pradesha Sabha Auditorium. Children belonging to Readers Society in the public library of the Kamrupitiya Pradesha Sabha have participated in the competition. Prizes and certificates were presented to nearly 100 participants of the contest. Minister Dalasala Peruma said the main responsibility of the people's representative institutions should be to act on behalf of the children. These groups are being entrusted with the responsibilities from nurturing the minds of the children to construction of children's playgrounds and libraries. The minister has further stated that all public representative institutions leading up to local government bodies are not fulfilling these obligations properly. Some television medium show scenes of exchange of blows between members in a Pradesha Sabha in the Uva province. Many political institutions have totally withdrawn from their commitments to fulfill the needs of the people. They are putting forward primary objectives which are irrelevant.
දරුවන් මුල් කරගත්තු ලෝකයක් ගොඩනගන්නට දේශපාලන ආයතන වලට තිබිච්ච වගකීමෙන් මුළුමනින්ම බැහැර වෙලා තියෙනවා. ඒවා අරමුණු අතරේ වෙන ප්‍රාථමික දේශපාලන අරමුණු ඇවිල්ලා තියෙනවා. ඒක තමයි අපේ රටේ ගොඩක් මහජන ආයතනවලට වෙලා තියෙන්නේ.
Minister Bandula Gunawardena says that the Mahapula scholarship program, which has been subject to much controversy during the previous regime, has been successfully implemented in the past 2 years by registering a financial surplus of 2.2 billion rupees. The minister has made these remarks at a media briefing held in Colombo today. Minister Bandula Gunawardena said that it has been possible to record a surplus of 1,085 million rupees in 2020 and a further 1,115 million rupees in 2021 through investments of massive funds of the Mahapula scheme. The Mahapula scheme was engaged in such an investment in the year 1999. A 25-acre land in Mala Bay, where Slit is located, was purchased at a cost of 12.5 million rupees. In the past 22 years, the Mahapula has recorded a surplus in addition to procuring a land area of 123 acres. They have made the Mahapula a secured institute through investments amounting to 340 million rupees.
Sunlight and Unilever Sri Lanka has conducted all religious observances wishing the year 2022 the best year for all Sri Lankans. Special religious programs have been organized in several locations in this connection. They included the Sri Dalada Maligawa Kandi, Our Lady of Lourdes Church Thevatharagama, Sri Venkateshwara Vishnu Devalaya and Sheikh Usman Valawulla Mosque in Colombo 7. The Sunlight, Unilever Sri Lanka have invited consumer public to join them in wishing the best ever year to the entire Sri Lankan community. Chairperson of the Unilever Sri Lanka, Mrs. Haja Alafefi, and the board of directors were also present.
Well, Cuba celebrates its 63rd National Day today. The official function will be held today in the capital of Havana to mark the National Day. The triumph of the revolution, also known as Liberation Day, is celebrated on the 1st of January every year to commemorate the victory of the revolutionaries led by Fidel Castro. Following the Cuban Revolution movement on the 1st of January 1959, Fidel Castro and his revolutionaries overthrew Cuban director and dictator Fulgencio Batista, who later fled to the neighboring Dominican Republic and then to the United States. The Cuban Revolution was an armed rebellion against the military dictatorship of Cuban President Fulgencio Batista. It started in 1953 and ended in 1959 with the triumph of the revolutionaries and the fleeing of the dictator to the US as Castro established his government in Cuba. Since then, the socialist Cuba faced many international challenges, including strict sanctions from the United States. However, the Caribbean nation established relations with many countries, including Sri Lanka, since 1959, expanding its network of friendly nations throughout the world. The day is marked by celebratory military parades, revolutionary poster marches, concerts, and fireworks all over Cuba.
It's estimated that it controls around 60.
Well, that wraps up tonight's English news on Rupavahini. On that same note, join us once again tomorrow at the same time. Until then, thanks for watching. Wishing you once again a happy and prosperous new year. Good night and have a good one.